some updates, if you will, on the Hunter Biden situation. And it's not even Hunter Biden, the Biden crime family. We know that this was a family business. In fact, without Joe Biden, there was no business. He was the sine qua non, right? Without Joe Biden, there's nothing. Without Joe Biden, no one's given Hunter all this money. And the Democrats have lied and lied and lied about this. And finally, it's just too much. Finally, it really is impossible for them to argue that it wasn't clearly unethical. And of course, they were misleading the American people about this for a long time. But also, people are wondering, right, what happened there with the Hunter Biden plea agreement? Why did that go the way it went at the time? Well, because the Biden White House, oh, no, they don't talk, right? There's no conversations between the Biden White House. Yeah, please. Because they were hoping that they would be able to make this whole thing just entirely go away, to wield power without compunction, without hesitation. But then there's this issue of Devon Archer, Hunter's buddy, or maybe now ex-buddy. Here he is. He was on Tucker on Twitter. Tucker's been doing these interviews. The numbers he's pulling on these Twitter interviews are, you're talking about getting into like 9 digits. I mean, it's 50 million views, 80 million views. Is a lot of people. I guess is it now X? Do I have to call it X? Elon Musk changed the name of it. And now when I go to my phone, I look at the app, it just has an X, which, as we are told, marks the spot. That's why Elon, that and a bunch of other things was what Elon was pushing for with this a long time ago, and now he's finally doing it. Anyway, Tucker on Twitter, here it is. Devon Archer, was Joe Biden very much the front man, the salesman, the guy, the sales piece, as in what was being sold? Hunter was, I guess, the front man salesman. Joe Biden was the back end. Joe Biden was this is the magic pot of gold you get if you just give us some millions of dollars here up front. Play clip 12.
So the power to have that access in that conversation, and it's not in a scheduled conference call, and it's a part of your family. That's like the pinnacle of power in D.C.
100%. I guess I'm pivoting against the lie that I'm hearing people tell with a straight face. Congressman Goldman, for example, that we don't really know what was going on. Really? You're taking a call from the vice president and you put it on speaker. It's not just, hey, Dad, I'm in a meeting with some buddies.
Right.
It's let me put my dad, the vice president, on speaker.
Yeah. Yep. In the rear view, it's an abuse of soft power, I'd say.
That it certainly is. And all the people who were telling you that there was nothing wrong here because no conversation even happened or whatever, the evolution of their lies is difficult to keep up with. But we now know they were all lying, and why would you listen to them now about anything else? Anyone who's telling you there's nothing wrong with it was just about Joe's love for his son or whatever. And it's also, I'm going to bring it full circle here, an example of that whole elite betrayal thing that I was talking to you about in the first hour. Do any of you get to just collect millions of dollars through the system because of who daddy is? No. Did any of you get to waltz into Yale Law School, the most selective by the numbers, not actually selective based on intelligence, law school in the entire country? No. But you were supposed to notice they still even deploy that as a defense. They'll say, well, Hunter's a Yale law educated lawyer and he's really smart. And Joe said, Hunter's the smartest guy I know. These people are imbeciles. Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, imbeciles. But ruthless, opportunistic, cunning, those are things that you could say about them. But they're the elites. I mean, he's the president. Doesn't get more elite now than that. It also goes to why they hate Trump so much. Because it's interesting, some Democrats, and even I've come across this, people I know in life, they'll say, well, you talk about the elite Democrat Party and look at Trump. He's a billionaire and he understands who they are and he holds the mirror up to them. He is of them. Trump is effectively an apostate of the elites. He has turned away from, in his philosophy, I'm not saying, not his lifestyle. The guy flies private jets. He's got, Mar-a-Lago's a super mansion, but he makes no pretense about that. You don't see photos of Trump all of a sudden, hey, here I am out pretending to be duck hunting for the first time, John Kerry. Hey, here I am flying coach, which I never actually do, but I just want to seem like a man of the people. No, it's about his philosophy, the positions that he pushes, and more than anything else, understanding how rotten the system is that operates for the benefit of these elites like the Bidens. And no one is free of it, right? Because you either aren't in that echelon of society, and then it's envy. You just, if you had only worked harder, you'd be there too, right? That's what they would say to critics who come from outside of that circle. You didn't go to Harvard Law School, so why should we listen to you about this? And if you're within the circle, meaning you've played the game too to get as far as you can for you and your family, but you turn around and say the whole system is rigged, they say, well, you benefited from it. Well, then what does that leave us with? How can we get any change? How can we get any fix to this? But I think the Bidens are a perfect example of this. The Bidens, the Cuomos, the Kennedys, RFK Jr. Why do they hate RFK Jr. right now on the left? Is another example. There's a Trump crossover here, right? You'd say to yourself, well, hold on a minute, Buck, but you said the Democrats, they get all the stuff. They're the elites. Yeah, he's turning around. If you are a Nantucket or Martha's Vineyard summering, because that they turn it into a verb, to summer somewhere. That's what you do. You go to your $10 million beach house and spend a couple of months there. Because when was the last time I've never been able to do that. Never mind the $10 million house. Just take off 2 months in the summer. When was the last time you were able to do that? But he is supposed to, meaning RFK Jr. is supposed to play the game the elites want him to, which is to say the CDC is great. Fauci is a genius. Everything was fine with COVID. And the medical establishment that has embraced all aspects of COVIDianism is to be supported, not to be criticized. He is breaking from the elites with that, which is why they are angry at him. That's why they are angry. That's why they are not alongside him with any of this. So, Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, will it all mean anything? I try to just always say the truth as I know it, as I see it. And the answer, I think, is no. It's meaningful for us because it reminds us why it's important that these people aren't in power and that they lose. But does anyone really think that there will be accountability for Hunter or Joe Biden in all of this if a Democrat wins, if any Democrat wins election in 2024? I don't think anyone can believe that. We have in the Devon Archer transcripts now. That's the House committee investigating this has released it. I just downloaded it in one of our station breaks here. It's clear that they were paying the Bidens to deal with the prosecutorial and investigation heat that Burisma was getting. So that was all, the whole thing about firing Shokin and all that. They were hiring Hunter to try to help them with that situation. It's just straight up corruption, quid pro quo corruption. I'm going to pay you. You're going to get your dad to get people to lay off, or in this case, to fire somebody. And that comes across in the Archer testimony. He says not specifically Shokin. He didn't remember Shokin, but he says, and this is again going to the transcript, Joe Biden, the whole point was he could help us with these problems. He could help us get away with the obvious corruption that was going on at Burisma, which is why the corrupt company was paying the corrupt ne'er-do-well son of the then vice president to try to talk to Daddy, and that's why Daddy was getting on speakerphone. It all adds up. None of this is out of left field, right? None of these you say, wait, I don't understand why they... No, we understand why they did all of this. Every aspect of this is apparent as long as somebody will accept the basic facts and take the time to think through it without taking in and taking on the Democrat narrative, which is, oh, it's no big deal. Joe just loves his son. Why don't you show some sympathy? It wasn't illegal. The people that will take non-criminal conduct and make it illegal with Trump simultaneously want to lecture us about the criminal conduct of, say, Hunter Biden and the Biden crime family and make it non-criminal. And you are not allowed to notice. If you notice, and you particularly if you say anything about it, you are a bad person. That's what they believe. That's where this stands as far as they are concerned. So we'll get more information, I'm sure, about this. Absent, and there are already, the smoking guns are all over. There's no question that what we've been saying that the Bidens all along is true. Do you think this DOJ is going to do anything about it? No.